The sun rises over Yangon, painting the city in gentle gold. But the warmth that once greeted the morning is scarce. The air feels heavy, as if the city itself is holding its breath, waiting for something to shift. The city's usual morning bustle, once filled with the sounds of vendors, laughter and the clatter of tea shops, is replaced by a tense, watchful silence. Streets that should be alive with energy now echo with uncertainty. People move with purpose, their steps quick and eyes downcast, each person trying to avoid attention. There's a sense of urgency in every movement, as if everyone is following an unspoken rule to stay invisible. Military trucks and young soldiers now dominate the streets, their presence a constant threat. The rumble of engines and the sight of uniforms remind everyone that the city is under watch and that danger can appear at any moment. The vibrant protest art that once covered the walls is gone, replaced by grey concrete and silence. Yet, even as the colors fade, memories of hope and resistance linger in the hearts of those who remember. Daily life continues, but every trip to the market, every errand, is a careful calculation, each step shadowed by the fear of arbitrary power. People glance over their shoulders, weighing risk against necessity. A wrong look or word can mean detention or worse. The rules are unwritten, but everyone knows them. Fear is a constant companion, shaping every interaction and every decision. Yet beneath the anxiety, resilience endures. Fleeting smiles are exchanged between strangers, quiet acts of kindness pass unnoticed by those in power, and friends support each other in small but meaningful ways. There is a quiet refusal to surrender to despair. The spirit of Myanmar, tested by fire and hardship, flickers on. In determined faces and in the gentle glow of lanterns at dusk, hope persists, fragile but unbroken. It waits, quietly enduring for the wind to change, for a new dawn when the city can breathe freely once again. In the pre-dawn hours of February 1st, 2021, as most of Myanmar slept, the military moved swiftly and silently through the darkness. Tanks rolled into the capital, and soldiers took up positions at key government buildings, their boots echoing on empty streets. The country's fragile democracy was about to be shattered in a matter of hours. The military arrested Aung San Suu Kyi, the country's de facto leader, along with President Win Myint and dozens of other elected officials. In a single night, Myanmar's hopes for democracy were swept away. Internet and phone lines were abruptly cut, plunging millions into isolation and confusion. Soldiers and armored vehicles filled the streets, enforcing a tense silence as people woke to a new reality. The junta justified their actions by claiming widespread election fraud, insisting they were protecting the nation. But few believed them. Around the world, headlines called it what it was: a coup. International condemnation was swift, but inside Myanmar, fear and uncertainty spread faster than the news itself. Yet shock soon turned to defiance. Millions of ordinary people, students, doctors, civil servants, poured into the streets, risking everything to demand their freedom. The sound of banging pots and pans echoed from balconies and alleyways, a symbol of resistance that united the nation in the face of terror. The military responded with brutal force, firing live ammunition into crowds, launching tear gas, and carrying out mass arrests. The streets that once rang with protest soon ran with fear and grief. The dream of a peaceful revolution was crushed. Many protesters were forced to flee, hiding in safe houses or escaping to the jungle, where some joined armed resistance groups. The struggle for freedom went underground, transforming into a fight for survival. 4 years later, Myanmar is a patchwork of contested territories. Civil war rages across the country, with ethnic armed groups and resistance fighters battling the military in towns, cities, and remote borderlands. Entire villages have been destroyed, and the violence shows no sign of ending. The coup shattered not just politics, but the very fabric of society. Families have been torn apart, schools closed, and dreams put on hold. The sense of safety and community that once held Myanmar together has been replaced by fear and loss. Today, 54 million people live with trauma, displacement, and uncertainty. For many, home is now a camp or a temporary shelter. The future remains uncertain, but the spirit of resistance endures, even in the darkest of times. The coup left deep scars on Myanmar's core institutions. Schools became propaganda centers. Teachers who resisted were fired or jailed. Parents keep children home, fearing violence. A generation grows up without education. Hospitals were raided, doctors hunted, and healthcare collapsed. Getting sick is now life-threatening, with clinics run in secret by volunteers. The economy has crumbled, middle class wiped out, families selling everything to survive or escape. Unemployment and poverty are rampant. The kyat's value has plummeted. Community trust is eroded by informants. Civil society is forced underground. The coup dismantled the structures that once held society together. Fear and loss fill the vacuum left behind. In 2024, the junta imposed mandatory military service, terrifying every household. Young men and women face forced conscription, fight for the regime or flee. Abductions and extortion are rampant. Families pay bribes to protect their children. Thousands hide or escape, becoming internal refugees or risking perilous border crossings. The draft drives many to join the resistance, choosing the jungle over the Tatmadaw. Others attempt dangerous escapes, draining family savings for smugglers and fake documents. The law weaponizes family love, tearing families apart. The nation's youth are scattered, its future uncertain. The conscription policy is destroying lives and the heart of Myanmar. Traveling in Myanmar is now a perilous ordeal. Military checkpoints choke the roads. Every journey risks extortion or arrest. Locals scrub their phones, rehearse stories, and travel in fear. A wrong answer can mean disaster, detention, theft, or worse. Roads that once connected now divide, reinforcing the country's fragmentation. For those fleeing, borders are gauntlets of danger, smugglers, bandits, and military patrols. Many never make it. Every escape is a story of luck and courage. Foreigners are tightly monitored, their movements restricted and watched. The freedom to explore is gone, replaced by invisible walls and constant surveillance. To travel in Myanmar is to glimpse the suffocating reality locals endure daily. Myanmar, once a welcoming destination, is now a conflict zone. Most governments warn against travel. Visitors risk detention or worse. The junta curates a facade of normalcy in controlled areas, hiding the conflict's true face. Travel outside these zones is nearly impossible and tightly monitored. Visitors face ethical dilemmas. Does their presence legitimize the regime? The risks are real: arrest, suspicion, and being used as bargaining chips. Yet bearing witness matters. Stories told responsibly keep Myanmar's plight in global view. The carefree days of travel are gone. Visiting now is a grave, deliberate act. Beyond the front lines, ordinary people wage a quiet war of resistance. Small acts, sharing information, sheltering draft dodgers, carry immense risk. Silent strikes empty cities, boycotts starve the regime of resources. Participation means arrest or worse, but people persist. Mutual aid fills the void left by destroyed institutions, secret schools, underground clinics, and shared resources. Solidarity binds communities, keeping hope alive. Clandestine media and art nurture the spirit of resistance. Songs, poems, and stories celebrate the revolution and mourn its martyrs. This daily defiance is the unseen front line, proof the junta cannot control the people's will. The true battle is fought in the hearts and homes of Myanmar. In liberated areas, a new Myanmar is taking shape. Ethnic groups and the national unity government are building the foundations of federal democracy. Schools teach real curricula. Local police and courts serve communities, not the junta. These are not just symbols, they're working alternatives to military rule. Healthcare thrives in jungle clinics, run by volunteer medics under constant threat. These efforts save lives and model a new people-first system. State building amid war shows the revolution is about more than resistance. It's about creating a just society. In these zones, hope is real and the future is being forged. Even as war rages, the dream of a better Myanmar is alive. In the middle of 2025, Myanmar stands at a pivotal crossroads, caught in a struggle between the darkness of oppression and the fragile hope of a new dawn. The air is thick with uncertainty, as the nation's fate hangs in the balance. Every sunrise brings with it a question: will this be the day that change finally arrives? The military junta, though weakened by years of resistance and internal fractures, still clings desperately to power. For millions, daily life is a struggle, marked by fear, poverty, and the constant threat of violence. In the cities, people move with caution. In the countryside, families huddle in makeshift shelters, uncertain of what tomorrow will bring. The humanitarian crisis is overwhelming. Over 2 million people have been forced from their homes, living in crowded camps or on the run. A generation of children grows up surrounded by trauma, their futures clouded by conflict. Aid workers do what they can, but the need is immense and resources are stretched thin. Yet even in the darkest moments, courage persists. Teachers risk arrest to educate children in secret classrooms. Doctors and nurses treat the wounded in hidden clinics. Young people organize peaceful protests, refusing to let fear silence their voices. Their acts of resistance, both big and small, keep hope alive. The military, hollowed by defections and growing dissent within its own ranks, finds it harder to control a population that refuses to submit. The people's defiance is visible in every protest banner, every silent vigil, every act of everyday bravery. Meanwhile, the world's response remains painfully slow. Many in Myanmar feel abandoned by the international community, their pleas for meaningful support echoing unanswered. They do not ask for foreign soldiers, but for solidarity, humanitarian aid, and a voice on the global stage. Their struggle is not just for themselves, but for universal values, democracy, dignity, and freedom. Each candle lit at a vigil, each hand raised in protest, is a declaration that these ideals are worth fighting for. The future remains unwritten. Rebuilding a nation torn apart by war and repression will take years, perhaps generations. But the seeds of renewal are already being planted in rebuilt homes, repaired schools, and the determination of families to stay together. In liberated zones, hope endures. Communities come together to share food, rebuild markets, and hold open-air meetings to plan for a better tomorrow. Solidarity and resilience are the foundation stones of progress. Through it all, the revolution's flame survives, burning quietly in the hearts of the people, waiting for the dawn that will one day break over a free Myanmar.